Welcome to Dodgers Tailgate. My name is Matt, and joining me today is Ryan Pepiot from the Dodgers AA affiliate Tulsa Drillers. In 8 starts this year, his ERA is 1.47 and his WHIP is .91. Fantastic year. Thanks for joining me, man.
Matt, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, so when you replied to my DM yesterday to when I reached out to see if you wanted to come on, I was legitimately in the drive-thru at McDonald's. So I was wondering, how often do guys in the minors, and maybe it might be on the Drillers, but not on other teams, but how often do they go? How often do you guys go get fast food?
Depending on what you define fast food, I would say not very often. If Chipotle counts as fast food, then I would say a ton. But if Chipotle doesn't count, then probably not too often.
Mhm. Okay. Because I've been hearing and I saw on my timeline like a while ago about how and kind of learning more about how awful the food situation can be for guys in the minors. Is this something the team has struggled with and you're like, why are you giving us just like lunch like cafeteria crap? Has that been something that's come up this year at all, or is the situation getting better?
For us, it hasn't really been an issue. We have traveling chefs that go with us at our affiliates. So we have a chef and a sous chef that go in a trailer behind us on the bus and prepare lunch, a snack before the game, and then dinner after the game. So I would say we're pretty spoiled in that way.
Mhm. Now, is this similar to other teams in the minors?
With other organizations, I'm not 100% sure. I know a few have either chefs or catering services, but I have seen some of the pictures on social media that some teams get, and it's like a turkey or a tomato and cheese sandwich, and I'm like, I just feel for those guys. And I mean, I have no personal experience with that. So I don't know exactly, but I would say we're very lucky and blessed with the Dodgers.
Hmm. Now, is that one of the parts of the organ? Because we hear about the Dodgers having a winning culture, and obviously we see it on the field. But do you think that plays a role in like just preparing food for the guys in the minor leagues? Does that actually play a role in the winning culture of an organization?
I think it does, definitely, because you get a chef that cooks a good meal before the game, after the game, gets the guys fueled right for the game. And it's a 120 plus game season. And it's a long grind through the whole year. So keeping the guys well fed where they're not losing weight, losing good weight, or having to go eat fast food and putting on bad weight, they can stay healthy and um, manage throughout the whole season.
Hmm. Now, I have another question, my last food question, because I've just been wondering about this, because I'm also kind of obsessed with Chad Ochocinco, and how all he eats is McDonald's. So, is there any guys on the team who literally just get fuel off fast food, but also have like a 10% body fat and like 25-inch arms? Is there anybody that fans would
Uh,
be surprised about?
I don't know anybody personally, like with us. I know some guys drink like we got some guys that drink like Cokes or something like that before a game, or um, a bunch of Red Bulls or anything like that. But we don't have anybody who's just walking in with a bag of McDonald's every day.
Do you think it's possible that like an
Absolutely,
athlete?
absolutely. But I do know like some people they could go and like eat fast food every day and not put on a single pound and be shredded. But it's definitely possible.
Mhm. It's so fascinating to me because you guys have these guys who have been chicken and white rice every single day, and then Ocho Cinco pulls up with three-quarter pounders.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm. All right, so now I kind of want to take it back to spring training because this past spring training for you wasn't the best. I think that's fair to say. So, is there anything that you learned from spring training, whether it was working with Dodgers pitching coach Mark Pryor or even guys on the MLB staff, that led you to where you are right now?
I think it was a combination of just getting acclimated to the competition, um, and picking brains of everybody that was there. Just being on the same field with some of the guys I've grown up watching was very cool, and being able to have conversations with people and see what they do before in each outing, or what their mindset is out there and how they cope with bigger situations like major league spring training for me was a big situation. It was the first time I played in front of fans, and a while, and some of the biggest crowds I ever have played in front of, even though it was spring training. Um, Definitely wasn't my best, but I definitely learned a lot and was able to learn that the way to get people out is to throw strikes. And when you're not doing that, it's pretty hard to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, I think it's really interesting how you put it very simply. You throw strikes and you get guys out. But so, what was it that goes into that process of picking brains? Like, did you ask guys who you've seen something from, or you think you could learn something from, like the picking brains part that leads you to throwing more strikes?
Combination of seeing how people go through their daily work and then see how somebody throws their bullpens. Maybe they do a few things certain ways, or just kind of how they attack hitters.
Mhm. So how much of that happens before? Because you're saying like bullpens and things of that nature. So how much of that process of throwing strikes happens before you're even on the mound pitching in a game?
It's definitely, there's a good bit before. It's a lot of the mental preparation, scouting reports, checking out who's in the lineup, who I'm facing, figuring out where I can go, where I don't want to go, what pitches work, which pitches don't, and then just mental prep or physical preparation. And we've been pitching for so long, so it's just kind of repetition. So continuing to go and go and go and make sure you're fully in sync.
Mhm. Now, from spring training to here, are there any specific adjustments in mechanics that actually have to do with what's on the mound that have led you to having, like I mentioned earlier, a .91 WHIP?
I've been more in sync with my delivery and just been smoother up on the mound, and which has given me the ability to be more in the strike zone and get people out.
Mhm. Now, when you're at the success level of success you're at, and you were or just as successful in 2019 before COVID and everything went crazy, but you did have similar numbers. So, how much of it is not even thinking about it?
Um, there's a little bit. It's just going out there and competing with whatever I have that day. Some days you have all three of your pitches. Some days you have one. Some days you feel great. Some days you don't. So it's just when the ball's in your hand, you have the ball and you get one chance every 5, 6 days. So either take it or run with it. So it's just the mental attitude of the ball's in my hands. So I'm going to control what I can control.
Mhm. Now, how much of what you're talking about played a role in your most recent start? You went 6 innings, gave up one hit, had six strikeouts, absolutely dominated, absolutely shoved. So, how much of what you're talking about now was used in your most recent start?
A lot of it. The delivery was in sync, felt good, and then just went out there and attacked hitters and was efficient, mixed speeds, got guys out in front, weak contact, and gave the team a chance to win and tried to save the bullpen a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah. And with what you're doing right now, what do you have to keep on doing, whether you preparation or just on the mound, to keep on getting the results you've been getting?
Just continuing to build off each start, figuring out what I did well, what I didn't do well. There's always something to learn from even from the good outings. So it's just building on what I've been doing and just kind of taking each step forward and limiting the steps backwards.
Hmm. Hmm. So at least from the most recent start, like you just said, there's always something. So what was it?
I think it was a little bit of getting my slider a little bit more glove side down, and then just continuing to hone in, keeping the fastball in zone and change up for strikes.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, is this something that you had like, was your slider better at other points in the year, and then now it's starting to tail off? Like tail. I mean, it's not bad. You see what I'm saying? Like it was better earlier in the year.
No, I think it was. I didn't really use it a whole lot the other day. So, but when I did use it, it was a little more middle of the plate to arm side. So when it wasn't that it was better earlier and then not as good now. It's still the same shape the way I wanted it to look. It just location wise just missed a little bit. So that's what I have to say about that one.
Okay. So mechanics wise, because I'm really interested in this because obviously I'm just a dumb logger on his couch watching games. So what does it take, just I don't know, physiology wise speaking, to get your slider to do what you want to do?
Just continuing to be linear, going towards the plate, not trying to get around it, not getting around the baseball, keeping my hand in front of it, and not trying to do too much with it. Just let the grip do the work.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there anybody on the Dodgers who you've seen even from the past, from maybe now, not even now, but from the past? Even though I know you're from Indiana, so I'm not sure if you followed the Dodgers growing up like that. But you've seen a slider from them, and you're like, wow, that's the one I want.
I really like Kershaw slider. I know he's left-handed, but I like Kershaw slider because it comes out looking like a fastball pretty much all the way to it gets to the plate and just dives off. So that's kind of similar movement profile that I'm going for, just trying to keep something going as fastball like as possible for as long as possible, and then late break to miss barrels.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I saw on your Twitter a couple of days ago you posted about a book that you've been keeping up with to throughout the season. So how much reading do you have to do, and how much, whether it's listening to podcasts or listening to audiobooks, just constant self efficacy to stay where you're at? Like how much reading do you have to keep on doing and keep on doing to make sure just mentally you're a-okay?
I'm not a huge reader, so it's a kind of a big day when I do start reading a book. But I do listen to a good amount of podcasts. The book that I was reading and was from one of my old coaches in high school, and he has his own mental training podcast. So I listen to those, and he's been training me mentally since like I was in sixth grade, um, all the way through high school, and we've even done stuff when I was in college, and we talk here and probably every couple weeks. So it's a lot of not as much reading, definitely a little bit of reading, podcasts, and just things that I've picked up on throughout the years.
So is that one of those things where, like, when it comes to listening to podcasts about mental training, you have to keep on? Is that an everyday thing to keep your mind exactly where you want it to be?
No, not every single day. Just here and there, just picking up when I need to, when I feel like I could use a little pick me up, or um, maybe after a bad outing, or even after good ones. Just making sure I'm staying focused and locked in.
Because I really do find it fascinating how we see this all the time. Like you just mentioned, like staying focused and staying locked in. But what is it about the brain? And this is like even a dumber question than was before. But like, what is it about the brain, in your opinion, that makes us not stay locked in? What is it that lets our mind go astray?
Honestly, I have no idea. It's The brain's a fascinating thing, so I think subconsciously, just like there's so many thoughts that are going around there, and one picks up, and then next thing you know, you're thinking about something totally different than what you're supposed to be.
Hmm. Now, when your brain's kind of going astray, like you just mentioned, just picking up another thought that you would rather not have, what do you do to get back in that zone? And does this actually happen on the mound, where your mind you start thinking about something else, even just like laundry you have to do?
No, not necessarily like something like that. More on the lines of like thinking too much on the mound or over analyzing. So it's kind of, for me, it's just taking a step off the mound, either finding a spot around the stadium that is going to be my focal point, or just looking down at my feet, being center where I'm at, and then big old deep breath, and then back at it.
Mhm. For sure, man, for sure. And as we start to wrap this up, is there anything that you see coming along the ways when it comes to, at least as the year goes on? Is there something you're like, man, if I could get this thing down, like it's over. Like this is my ticket to the big leagues.
Um, I would just say, I don't know. It's out of my hands, it's out of my control. But as long as I just continue to go out there and give my team the best chance to win ball games, continue to throw strikes and get people out efficiently, then um, I'd say I give myself a good chance to continue to advance.
All right, for sure, man, for sure. All right, so that was Brian Pepiot with me, Matt of Dodgers Tailgate. He's having a phenomenal year for the Tulsa Drillers so far. And as I'm wrapping up, just reminding myself, Drillville is the greatest nickname ever.
Yeah, it's a good one. Everyone fans here are great. Stadium's great. Town's great. It's a great place to be. So if you ever get the chance to come out, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm booking my ticket right now to go to Tulsa. Yeah. All right, so thank you for joining me, Ryan. And have a good day, guys.